Hi guys, it's Tamra, the Judeo-Christian medium. Let me just give you a quick explanation about what that means. I am a Jewish Christian medium. I started out by reading tarot and I ended up connecting to Jesus, many of the archangels, and the Galactic Federation, which includes the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, and the Tall Whites. You can see I'm wearing a navy t-shirt. I've been advised to do that because Archangel Michael and Admiral Ashtar are big leaders in the military aspect of the Galactic Federation of Light, and they have an affinity for the Navy and they protect the Navy. So I've been told to wear this. I've been told in a past life I was a Navy pilot. So those are stories for another day. Before I get started, sorry for the glare in my glasses. Let me just pull this back a little bit. I'd like to introduce my spiritual team that's always with me, and they're always updating me on the latest thing is like the order that they go in. So let me just introduce you to them in their order. We have God, our Creator. We have Jesus on my right, Mother Mary on my right shoulder, Father Joseph on my left shoulder. Then in order, we have Archangel, well, that's in order, Archangel Michael, Metatron, Archangel Eric Medhus, Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Sandalphon, and forgive me for closing my eyes, guys. I'm talking to them and getting messages from them. Archangel Sandalphon on my right, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Jophiel, Archangel Uriel, which is me. I can explain that at another time. Archangel Zadkiel, Archangel Jeremiah, Archangel Raguel, Archangel Chamuel, Archangel Ezekiel, Archangel Haniel, and Archangel Daniel. And at another time, I'm going to be doing videos like talking about and describing each one of these archangels and what they're about, how to pray to them, what they're good for. They're telling me just to go on because this video is about George Soros. And Jesus would like me to, in the beginning of my videos, to concentrate on the who, what, when, where, and why. And I really felt like saying those perfectly. He's really been harping on the news and the lack of professionalism. Not all news, but he's saying there has been a lack of professionalism. And that's why he would like me to do that. And also for people who are just dabbling in this and just want the information, just to try to give some of the information, because not everybody is at the same level and the same interest in metaphysics and want to listen to like every detail. It might sort of go over their heads. They might not understand the information, and they might just want the basics. They're talking to me. Sorry guys, I get distracted. They're all talking, they're laughing, they're like, yeah, the who, what, when, where, why, get on with it. They talk really fast. Okay, so who am am I talking about? Mr. George Soros. Oh, also guys, this is the third video I'm making on George Soros. That's how much information I have. And Spirit keeps giving me information, but I think this is going to be the last one, but I'm not positive. Okay, so who? George Soros, also known as Georgie Schwartz. That's it's funny how I said that, very Jewish. That's how that's what his name was when he was born, before his family changed their name due to them being anti-Semitic and also just trying to save themselves. You can't blame them for trying to save themselves. So Jesus said, who is George Soros? He's a self-hating, denying Jew. That's a little harsh, guys. They're like, yeah. Anyway, what is he? He is a dark reptilian. And who, what, when has he done? What? Dark reptilian who has done some bad deeds, they want me to say. So when? I'm not good at this. When? World War II, England, and New York, and some other nefarious deeds. And why? Why does he do this? He would like destruction, chaos, fun, spite, jealousy, money, vengeance, anti-establishment as to what he considers the establishment, anti-Jewish and Semitic, which we'll get into, anti-Israel. Anything that is anti-New York is anti-Israel. It affects the property, money, and livelihood of Jewish New Yorkers and Israel, and it's complicated. And I know there's going to be some of you saying, well, you know, that these deeds are affecting everyone, but we're just concentrating on this right now as to the how it connects to George Soros. So who, what, when, who, what, when, where. So yeah, I said that. And why. Yes, when is also a place, like when and where. I said those together. Okay, so moving on from there, just checking my work, guys. I have so much information because it's a lot of what I've talked about, a lot of my predictions, premonitions, messages are tying into Mr. George Soros too. So, okay, moving on from the who, what, when, where, why, I want to make some corrections. So, Jesus corrected me and my memory, because sometimes when we have a traumatic event, which when I saw George Soros in Midtown, it felt traumatic. It felt like one of those like big life moments. So Jesus corrected me and said he was not in an SUV, and this is what made it creepy. I haven't driven since 2001, so I'm not very good with cars, but so I just call everything an SUV. This was a sedan, they told me. They showed me the car. It's like a black sedan, a little bit older, which was suspicious. So you'd have to watch the videos. I recommend you watch the first and second video so you know what I'm talking about. So the correction is he was not in an SUV, he was in a sedan, and he's sitting in the back of the sedan. And like I said, it was a really hot day, guys, probably like in the 90s, and he's sitting in the back of a sedan, like in a dress shirt. I believe it was like a white dress shirt, and he's just sitting there. And oh wait, no, it was like a black dress shirt. It's just odd. So he's sitting there, and it's really hot. He's not sweating, and he has this blank expression, like I said, like a poker face. And there was a large, tall African American man standing at the hood, and a woman in her 20s, mixed race, Hispanic, black woman, kind of sexy, short shorts. And those two were like eating something. They were in front of a deli, and they looked tough, like people you wouldn't want to mess with. So and so George didn't really fit into this. He didn't fit in. He looked like a wealthy older man sitting in the back of this sedan, yet he saw me looking at him, and it was like we had an exchange, like a psychic moment. He understood my confusion, but he wouldn't help me in letting me know, like, if he was okay or not okay. There was lots of crime going on here, which Jesus wanted me to talk about too, how this is all tying into some of the videos I've made on crime. So, that I talked about that weird moment, and, it was one of those, I'm sorry about the camera work. It was one of those psychic moments that we in the metaphysical community talk about, like when you see a soulmate, a karmic soulmate, a twin flame. So what I've been told is George Soros is a karmic soulmate of mine, meaning we have past karma together. We have past trauma together. And my spiritual team hasn't told me everything, but it has to do with Israel. And they're saying, yeah, way back. And the Czech Republic and Germany. And there's a lot of ties that have to do with Judaism and the dark reptilian starseed dance. Mr. George Soros and I and them and the Galactic Federation are part of that dance. So, and Jesus is asking me just to keep going and talk. It's a strange thing, guys, because me as a person, like, I don't really, I feel uncomfortable giving out so much information. Like, am I talking too much? Am I saying too much? But then Jesus is like, no, you're a messenger, just like they were, just like, Jesus was, and the archangels. So, you're tuning in because you want the messages. So let me give you the messages without hesitation. So, okay. yeah, so let's go back to this SUV. Yeah, it's just creepy. There was no AC, it just didn't fit. Okay, so let's move on from there. I also talked about how I was here in 2020, and that's no coincidence. I was supposed to be here. I'm supposed to report on this stuff. So but I didn't know it at the time. When I was in Midtown, I saw young teenagers, it looks like street kids, suddenly going in and out of very expensive vans, and some some had some pricey streetwear on. That's not like a big thing that I noticed, but I did notice that suddenly all these teenagers were like, I could just say gangs. They didn't exactly look like tough gangs, but they were all grouped together. They had these nice vans, and I just noticed a lot of them driving around in nice vans and nice cars, and not working, just in groups. And they had like really expensive fireworks. Anyone living in New York at that time understands that they had fireworks, guys, going off, and these were like nice fireworks, like professional fireworks, going off, like, oh my God. I still feel a little traumatized from it. I have to tell you the truth. Like, they were going off from like 7 p.m. all night, guys. And this was during the pandemic, a long time after the pandemic. It's kind of a blur. I feel like I'm just coming out of that trauma. It all blurred together, but this is for quite a long time. This went into like 2021 and and it's still going on in some neighborhoods. They've stopped it in some neighborhoods, which is unfair, but that's how it is. So another thing that I want to bring up is, so I tied my experience that I had with the Men in Black on 57th Street. I saw them in between the William Randolph Hearst building on my left and the Open Society on my right. And Spirit is saying that's no coincidence. I'm going to add to that 57th Street, Spirit said, is a portal. A lot of New York City is a spiritual portal. And then some areas are super blocked because some areas here are very dark reptilian, and the areas are blocked. The light is blocked. So let's just call the light the Galactic Federation of Light. Their influence in certain areas are blocked, but there are portals. So 57th Street is a portal, and I want to make a connection to Dan Akroyd. So Dan Akroyd was on 42nd Street, which Spirit was telling me is another portal, as is 34th Street, where I am now. 34th Street is a portal, so I'll get into that. So let's go back to Dan Akroyd. Dan Akroyd was standing on 42nd Street. Many of you know that's where many of the Broadway shows are. It's a huge epicenter of New York City. It's a huge portal. So, for the metaphysical people, just remember 34th, 42nd, and 57th are big portals, as is 59th Street. Lincoln Center is a portal area too. Spirit said I should do a whole video on this. So, okay, let's get back to Dan Akroyd. He had just wrapped up, and I will put his interview in the comment section. He had just wrapped up a video on disclosure, and a video series on disclosure. So that was going to be released to the public, and he had just gotten off the phone talking about that release. So he went outside on 42nd Street to have a cigarette, and he was actually talking to Drew Barrymore. Now, I don't know if Dan Akroyd knows this, but both Dan Akroyd, I've been told, Dan Akroyd and Drew Barrymore are both starseeds. So he was talking to her on the phone about being on Saturday Night Live. So that in itself, guys, is very powerful. So, Dan Akroyd is on the phone with Drew Barrymore. They're starseeds. They're going to be on Saturday Night Live, which is in Rockefeller Center, which is another portal. And he had just gotten off the phone discussing the release of his videos about disclosure. About people seeing UFOs. When he said he saw what looked like the Men in Black in a black sedan, and he looked, he saw them, they gave him a scary look. With me, they had machine guns pointing at me. And he said he just turned his head for a second, looked back, and they were gone. He didn't see the back of their car or anything like that. So, Spirit's talking to me, sorry. They said I didn't fully explain the kids and the vans and what it has to do with George. Okay, I'll get back to that. So, anyway, basically, this whole umbrella of what I'm talking about has to do with the Galactic Federation of Light and versus the dark reptilian energy. Well, obviously, not obviously, but Spirit has told me that the Men in Black are 100% the dark reptilian energy. And so what is the dark reptilian energy, you might be asking? From what I've been told, it when Earth was created, when humanity was created on Earth, God, it's so hard to explain, but God, sorry, I'm being distracted. Hold on, they're talking. Ooh, this is tough, guys. I'm feeling kind of a weird energy. Anyway, God created humanity with the help of the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, the tall whites, and the reptilians. Starting to calm down. And the reptilians were more in number. They represented 50% of the population because they are hard workers, team players, and very good at tasks and completing tasks, and very earthly. Like, they really do well on earth. They excel. Yeah, spirit. So spirit is saying they excel on earth, and star seeds generally offer a lot to earth and have these special talents, but excel more on the other side, if that makes sense. So where did we get dark reptilians? Well, what happened was there has become, and has been in the past, huge power struggles. And the dark reptilian energy comes from the power struggle of the reptilians with the star seeds. So reptilians feel that they should be in charge, and star seeds feel that they should be in charge. So star seeds have their Galactic Federation of Light, and people call it all kinds of different names. People call it the light. Sorry, they're talking. There's all kinds of different factions. I'm just mentioning the big umbrella of it. So, like Jesus, the archangels, the whole Federation of Light, they are always trying to talk to us, always trying to influence us, because the thing is, guys, that a lot of people are very upset about is that we have free will. So we co-create with our guides, our creators. We co-create with them. We decided what we were going to try to accomplish when we got here, and we co-create with them. So that's very upsetting to people, and that's one of the reasons why many people think that we don't have a God, or Jesus didn't exist, or the archangels don't exist, because why don't they help us? They do help us, but they help us by giving us messages, and they can intervene in certain circumstances. But we chose to come here to have this earthly experience, and we chose to have free will. So, as did, reptilians. So being reptilian is not a negative thing. Being dark reptilian is. So some of the reptilians branched off onto the other side, into the fourth dimension, as the dark reptilian energy, and they have a negative influence on humanity. And we're all susceptible to it, but reptilians are even more susceptible. So if you have a reptilian that has had trauma, they are more than likely to become dark reptilian, which Mr. George Soros has. And so, so let me cut back to how does George Soros relate to all of the teenagers? Well, George Soros is a billionaire, and he has the Open Society Foundation here in New York. Well, he likes to, he thinks he's gangsta. He likes to manipulate. He likes to fund destructive things, saying that he's not being destructive. And he is connected to giving groups money for negative things, band, and other groups have given, unfortunately, some young people in New York City, and this has happened other places too, but let's just stick to what's happening here. These people have been funded for destruction, and it's not good for them. It's not good for society. And this goes back to Mr. George Soros and his first trauma back in World War II against the Jews. Well, how does it relate back to there? Well, you know, New York is very Jewish. This is where many Jewish people call their home. So it's, if you can try to relate it, guys, it is still the dynamic. If that makes sense. I know things have become very confusing, and it's very confusing as to, you know, who is the establishment, who's in the right, who's in the wrong. Well, from what Jesus has said, is it's not that simple. You know, many people like myself are raised to believe that, I guess it would be like the top 1% of the people were the, you know, the dark ones. And, but it's just not that simple, you guys. Jesus has told me, and I've seen this for myself, just, you know, being alive for so long, that, you know, all bankers aren't dark, and all like actors and performers and churchgoers and priests aren't of the light. So, but Mr. George Soros is basically continually reenacting his trauma by him choosing where he filters his billions of dollars. And unfortunately, he could be filtering it in a better place. But it is actually negatively affecting not only all New Yorkers, but think about the parallel. Let me fix my camera. Sorry, guys. Hold on. The parallel between what happened with the Jews in World War II, how they were basically moved out of where they lived, and even worse. Well, it could get to that here, guys. The crime is getting so bad. People are having to move. People are having to move quickly and just sell their stuff. Many families have actually moved back to Israel. It might not be so openly spoken about, but you know, about, they say 200 different numbers to 300,000 people have left the city, and it's just not safe. Now, I do know that young people, they're saying young people are moving back into the city, so we'll see. A lot of the crime was specifically targeted against certain groups, the Jewish people being one of them, and older people. So there is just this atmosphere of fear. Is it exactly like what happened in World War II? No. But just know, guys, everything that affects New York affects Israel and affects the Jewish people. That's just the way that it is. So I don't think George Soros is concentrating just on negatively affecting Jewish people, but that is a part of it. And, you know, he is representing the dark reptilian energy. So it is an energy, guys. So let me just make sure that I covered the portal idea. Jesus is telling me that. So portals in New York. I'll do a whole video on that. I happen to live in a portal, and I do now, and that was no coincidence. I had a spirit in my apartment. Her name was Johanna, and she helped me a lot. I learned about her. She helped me with tarot. She helped keep me safe. Because my whole apartment experience at the end, starting in the pandemic, that's a whole story for another day. A really crazy story, guys, that filled with drama. But anyway, Johanna and the portal helped me, and it actually helped me connect to my spiritual team. So, okay, I just want to, I have a premonition, and when I did the video for 2022, I saw lots of explosions. Lots of weather and lots of explosions that we have seen, but unfortunately, guys, there might be some funded, planned explosions having to do with landmarks in New York. I was told, and I saw Midtown, Times Square, and the Statue of Liberty. So, and some bridges, and I'm truly hoping, and sometimes Jesus has told me that because certain groups, mediums, light workers, protectors have gotten this information out, things have been canceled, like stopped. And so that's part of this process. Like, that's what we're hoping for, is sometimes as mediums, as true mediums and tarot readers are hoping to, some may not know it or just getting the messages out, but the bigger issue here is actually preventing disaster, preventing things from happening. And I know that that's kind of hard because mediums want to be right too, but ultimately Jesus is saying we want to use our messages to help people and to keep them safe and to prevent things from happening. So hopefully maybe other people will see my video and they'll talk to their spirit guides and they'll make a video, and maybe, sorry, my hand's shaking, maybe they'll have more, my right hand shakes a little bit. Maybe they'll have more views, they have more subscribers, they'll talk to their guides and confirm it. So maybe these messages are helping. But anyway, how does this affect you? I would be very careful, guys, especially around holidays and the weekends, being around landmarks, being in crowds. We've seen what has happened, and try to think of it as a dark reptilian spirit negatively affecting people, susceptible people. Who's susceptible? Anyone who's dark, anyone who is going through trauma, substances, alcohol, grief, trauma, being reptilian and being on the fence, things like that, you're more negatively affected. Okay, there we go. Okay, let me just look at my notes here. Yes, Jesus is saying many things were funded for young people, and it's very sad. And Jesus is saying that many of these young people were stunted in their growth, that they were supposed to go to school, go on to get married, maybe, do have a decent life, and they've been given easier access to substances, weapons, fireworks, and many of them are being actually used to do the deeds of the people above them in charge. So let me look at my notes here, make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, Jesus, I wrote, New York City is a battleground. It's a very, very special place. It's been a battleground from the beginning, with the American Indians and the settlers, and then how much it was sold for, how it has attracted, at one point there was an equal amount of star seeds to reptilians. Now Spirit says it's much more reptilian, which I struggle with here, the energy that is. I'm not picking on anyone in particular. Yeah, Jesus says they're rampant. It's not as clear cut as Hollywood would have you believe it, of who's good and who's bad. So it's the same old dance of this destruction, and how it drives out people who are of the light, who have talent, and it leaves the more harsher, sort of robotic, dark reptilian energy behind. And there's a little bit with Mr. Soros of that Joker element of testing, like, who's corruptible, and corrupting people with his money and seeing like what happens, like it's like a big joke. And of course this is the narcissistic empath dance, and when you take money away from talented people, which most starseeds are talented, it gives reptilians the idea that you don't have the talent, because they think that if you're so magical and you're so talented, you should be able to shine no matter what. Okay, I'm just reading my notes here. Yet reptilians want to be in power, earthbound. Sometimes they like to believe that starseeds are useless and they shouldn't be in charge of anything. And actually, sometimes the group think of reptilians is that starseeds should be their slaves. They should sing, act, dance, create, make things for the reptilians who group together and sort of take care of business. They think that they should be in charge. And Jesus is showing me like the healthcare system, the clerical part of it, and how crazy it's gotten. Like, he's using Medicare for an example, how there's like A through G plans, and how, it's 20 pages of something that nobody reads, That's all a reptilian influence. Jesus is saying that the reptilian influence is a CVS receipt. Like a CVS receipt, how it's like 20% off this product on this day at this time, and then like you can never get it right. It's like gambling. Anyway, that was a tangent. That was funny. But that's the agenda, guys. The reptilians feel like they should be in charge, and life should be, because it's not that hard for them. Like a day's work of their kind of work feels different than it would if a starseed was doing that. But Jesus is saying, like, it's not fair to have starseeds live like that. It would be like making a reptilian, go in a stadium and sing like Beyonce, or do this work that I'm doing, like, trying to connect to spirit and give messages, or be, a magical type of doctor, like, a really skilled surgeon. Like, they're saying reptilians wouldn't want to be under that kind of pressure to do a talent that they don't have. And so it's really important for people to hold on to and fight for their own place in this world. And let me just look, as my subscribers, you got the bonus plan. You got a lot more than just George Soros, but I just want to give you a deeper explanation of how this all relates, and how it relates to me and my spiritual team, and where I fit into all this, and why I even bring up myself. But God and Jesus and the Galactic Federation of Light, they do help their messengers, but just know that dark reptilian leaders on the other side, they help their messengers. So wherever there is darkness, they're going to rule. And so that's why I keep pressing, and other light workers press, about keeping yourself light, keeping yourself clean. And I will continue to make videos about how to do that. Just your energy clean, your space clean. And they said vices get people, lack of protection, slavery, a lot of people here now are in slavery. They are doing a lot of work for the bare minimum to survive, and that's a very reptilian / dark reptilian way to live. And that's, people are trying to figure out how to fight that, because even your average reptilian doesn't really want to live that way. Yes, they may be more competitive, they may be able to sustain their energy more in certain fields. They're showing me like working together, even if it's, a construction assembly line, and of course it's not all reptilians would take these jobs, but the office work is not going to wear them out per se, but even an average reptilian wants work-life balance, and to care for their family, and to do their hobbies, and have time to have a good time and travel and all that stuff. So but a dark reptilian does not want to see people happy in that way. They don't want to see Dark reptilians don't want to see people experiencing ranges of emotion, especially happiness and joy. So we could call them narcissist or part of that dark triad, depending on the level of psychopathy. But that's a big issue for dark reptilians, which Mr. George Soros is one, is the bitterness, and they may not show it. A dark reptilian could have a big smile. In fact, that could be their shtick. They could always come at you with a big smile, a big fake smile. So, but they really don't want to see other people experiencing, sorry, a message just came in, like experiencing emotion. They do and they don't. It's very complicated because they themselves don't experience that. They might want to see it in like a movie, but they would particularly want to see like sadness, upsetness in people because of the narcissistic supply that they would receive, the energy that they would get. So I guess what I'm saying is, to be more clear, they just don't want to see people doing well, being happy. That's not where it's at for them. So I think I'm going to end it there. I'm sure I've forgotten things. If that's the case with Mr. George Soros, I will make a 4th video. We'll see. But I'm going to be moving on to, I have like a long list of celebrities that have passed that really want to talk. So I will get into that. You can see I'm getting very tired. My voice is starting to drag. But anyway, guys, I hope that was helpful. I know I'm a little bit all over the place, but there are just so many storylines that are connecting to this, and that's the way that my brain thinks. I have ADHD, and that's the way my spiritual team thinks. So when we start to get talking, it all makes sense to me. It's just I have to put it on paper so I remember it, and then I have to figure out a way to tell you guys that like isn't too wacky. And Jesus is really helping me with the who, what, when, where, why. And he's really saying like we really need to have more of that critical thinking, and the news needs to, as much as they can, tell us the who, what, when, where, why, so we're informed. He's saying that many news stories now tell you the what over and over, the when, but they leave out the other elements. And yeah, so a typical news story like that would have a news reporter saying, so there was, okay, I'll just make an example. So there was, oh, I don't want to get my channel flagged. There was use of a firearm on this street right here at 2:30. And there were 2 men. So they'll say that. And then they'll interview people, and the people will give they'll say, I was eating a sandwich and I heard pop, 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 pop. It's just making me laugh. And then the next person will say, I was with my child and we heard bang, bang, bang. And then the next person will say, I heard people screaming and running down the street. And then they'll say, and that will be it. And Jesus is saying that's no way to cover the news. And they'll often say, we'll report back to you. And they don't report back the who, what, when, where, and especially the why. And we need that, guys, from our news, and we need to go back to the days of honest news reports. Anyway, that's Jesus' soapbox. He has many. We enjoy this stuff, but I will wrap this up, guys. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave a comment. If you feel that any of these places you've been to are portals, or if you've had any experiences yourself that you want to share, definitely let me know. I would love to hear your experiences. All right, guys, that's it for now, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Please thank my spiritual team, and feel free to pray to them if you're looking to get messages yourself, or you feel interested in connecting to my team. They're here for you. They want to connect. So please feel free to do that, and they recommend doing it silently. All right, guys, I will see you soon. Bye. Love you.